Okay, we've got my enrollments and working on Network Engineer. Let's take a look at Network Engineer. All right, so we've got Network Plus Labs, etc., etc. There's some Cisco stuff. Anyway, I'm done with one. Let's say Module 1. And then we're into the labs. So number 2 here, we're going into labs. I'm going to launch. Now we're into practice labs, www.practicelabs.com, authenticated vNext, VN content, ASPX. Okay. We'll go into the IPv4 and IPv6. We'll start that. And I'm going to happen to go to the next step that I was at, which was configuring the network to use an ISOTAP router. Now, none of this really matters. There's other labs that have PLABWIN10, like the OSI reference model. If PLABWIN10 is up, there's an issue because PLABWIN10 wants to update. So none of this really matters that much. It's just we need a copy of PLABWIN10. So the domain controller is booting. And we're in practicetaclabs.com/authenticated/vnext/vntech-content. We'll move you out of the way. .aspx #. And there's the domain controller. And we're waiting on group policy. Again, none of this matters. It's just that PLABWIN10 wants to do updates. None of this other stuff matters. It's better if the domain controller's up and running. Otherwise, I've had some troubles getting PLABWIN10 to even boot. Waiting on group policy. There we go. All right, so there's the domain controller. We'll bring this down. And it doesn't matter if this is on or off, but I'll bring it up anyway. Shouldn't take too long. There we go. There's our other server, and we'll get you out of the way. I could probably just bring up PLABWIN10 and show that it wants to update. So let's bring up PLABWIN10. Here's our problem child. This one will stay busy a little bit longer than the other two. It'd be interesting to bring up PLABWIN10 without the domain controller and see if that's the one that's trying to push out the updates. All right, PLABWIN10 still busy. This takes a bit. Oh, a little bit quicker this time. Okay, now I can do absolutely nothing, and between, anywhere from 1 to 6.5, 7 minutes, we're going to get a message pop up saying that there's some updates. Right? I mean, I can go ahead with the lab, or I can just leave this sit. Doesn't really matter. Let's see what time we've got. I've got 14:59 my time, so somewhere before 15:05 we should get this pop up. Usually I'm part way into the lab when the update message comes up. So 30 seconds have gone by. It can take up to 6 minutes or so. Feels like longer when you're watching it. So we're just waiting for that message to pop up that there's updates. So PLABWIN10 waiting for the update message. Once that shows up, it's game over. Your options are to go ahead and update or go ahead and update. Those are your only two options. You can, reboot, power off, whatever you want to do, but you will update. Still waiting. Yeah, it seems like 2 minutes have gone by, but it hasn't. Again, I could move ahead with the labs and the update message will pop up, or we can just sit here and wait. Oh, doesn't make any difference. We could actually be on another a different lab. As long as PLABWIN10 is up, it's going to tell you that it needs to update. Okay, minute 30, 2 minutes. A couple more minutes for the message. Still waiting. Death, taxes, and PLABWIN10 is going to update. Still waiting. And there we go. That didn't take too long. All right, now there's nothing you can do. You can either get the updates or option B, get the updates. There's nothing else you can do. We can go on here, power off, reboot, but we're just going to, when we come back up, you've got your, 1 to 6 minutes before this thing pops up again. Nothing you can do but get updates. All right, so let's get updates. All right, we're getting our updates. I'll hit download. There's going to be a freeze point at like 40% on something here. All right, this one goes. And again, for a customer just trying to get into the labs and, do some work, get a certificate, learn some things. I mean, this is all fun, but unnecessary. See if we can find our 40%. Okay. Now it's preparing to install, and it has stopped at 40%. Now it might stay there 10 minutes, it might stay there 20 minutes, and then it's going to move on, it'll move up to something else. It'll try and install something else. And then that one can take 30, 35, 40. A couple times I let it go, and it just says Cybrary has kicked you out for loss of connection or some such. So longest I've actually sat here and, done something on the other screen has been maybe like 55 minutes. And I'm guessing that when I, log out of Cybrary and then come back into the labs, it's gonna go back to a restore point, and then we got to do this all again, even if it made it through. I've never seen it actually complete. I've got something to eat and came back. So this is like 10 to 20 minutes, and then you got another one that lasts at least a half hour or more. Anyway, no fun for the customer trying to get some labs done. And again, it's PLABWIN10. You can see practice labs authenticated, vNext, VN content, SPX. Anyway, this will move on at some point, and then it'll stick longer someplace else. So here we go.